Hello everyone, this is JPO and we're back for another podcast. And today I'm joined with, right beside me,
Matthew.
yes, and returning once again we have,
Hey, I'm Toa.
and with our new member we have
Speedy!
Speedy, okay? And today our topic is talking about the new Star Wars movie, Rogue One.
Yay!
Okay,
Yeah.
what should we start with?
Well, let's start with first impressions. Yay or nay?
That's such a
Um,
complex question.
I liked it. I would say yay.
Okay,
I thought it was a really fun movie.
okay,
I'll go with
yeah.
yay.
okay. Me, this movie's top 3 for me.
Ooh.
Really?
Yes. In the Star Wars category.
Okay. Behind which two?
Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back.
Oh wow, so it's high up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, so you liked it more than the previously released Star Wars movie?
I don't really care about more. I just really liked it.
Okay.
I base it on my rewatchability of it, and I would definitely want to rewatch this over and over again. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Matthew.
Yes?
What? So should we start with characters?
Sure. So, I have my character list that I'm writing out here since I don't have internet. And,
You wanna
first off is Jin.
just Rogue One. Let's look it up on IMDb.
Impressions on Jin.
Jyn Erso.
So I'll admit, this may be a lesser, a non-popular opinion. I didn't like
Here
Jin
we
as
go.
much. I thought most of the other characters were pretty well fleshed out. Jin kind of just seemed to move the plot along.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like there wasn't really any resistance in the beginning. You feel like she would put up more of a resistance to helping the what are they called?
Rebellions.
The good guys, the
Rebels.
rebellion. But she's like, okay, after asking what would happen if she said yes.
Yeah, and in one of the trailers, she says the line, "This is a rebellion, we rebel," or something like that, or "I rebel."
Yeah.
I don't remember the line exactly, but I was expecting that to be more of her character, like she was the rebellious, basically refugee.
Yeah.
Who ends up stepping into this role and being our protagonist.
I figured that she'd
Kind
be
of.
much more of a naughty character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a rogue.
Ha ha.
Glad someone laughs at my jokes.
I'm here for you.
I liked how the movie sort of took a step back from her character and let it be more of a team movie.
Yeah.
That is one good aspect. I'll agree with that for sure. It wasn't focused completely on her. So I did like that.
Okay, yeah, and there isn't really... The interesting thing is she's the main character, but there isn't really much to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, so the whole thing with her parents, obviously she saw her mom killed in front of her, and then years later she sees her dad get killed in front of her.
Tangshan, China.
Interestingly, you can look at both scenarios and see that her mom died because of the Empire. Her dad died because of the rebels. So it's kind of an interesting comparison there, which I did find interesting when she decided to rebel from the rebellion to go on her own. Yeah. It was like the rebellion was one extreme and the Empire was the other, and she was kind of down that balanced middle, which I feel like the whole Star Wars like universe is kind of trying to enforce. The extremes are bad. So I thought that was interesting.
Huh. I didn't think about that.
Okay, next up we have Cassian Andor, who probably my third favorite character in the movie. I like how he brings a lot of depth to the rebellion about how he doesn't always do good.
Yeah. Especially with the first scene of him, we see he straight up kills somebody to escape.
That's what I want to see more in the Rebels TV series. More that kind of violence instead of their cheesy, oh, hey, let's just knock him out. Crack a one-liner.
Yeah.
The Rebels are they not led by Ahsoka Tano, though? Or I haven't watched the series, so I
no,
don't...
Ahsoka is barely in it.
Okay. Because, yeah, I guess technically it isn't the Jedi code not to kill, but it's strongly recommended that you don't. It's kind of up in the air.
They actually say in the show, Grandma Tarkin says, oh, these rebels aren't into such violence. Such a disappointment. But anyway, we're talking about Rogue One. I like the way they portray the rebellion in this as it's not a complete unified rebellion. There's disunity within it.
Yeah.
I like how they also portrayed that it was like not completely good. It isn't like the completely good side and the completely bad side. Well, the bad side is completely bad to me, but the good side had a little bit of a mix with, especially with Cassian going and killing for the rebellion in the name of the rebellion, you know, to be able to get what they wanted. You don't necessarily think of that as a good thing, but so I like how they kind of added that into the story.
Yeah, and I would also like to bring up the last scene with Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. Like, that one really got to me. All of the different death scenes were, like, emotional, but I don't know. That one was, like, so perfectly done. And the fact that there wasn't a kiss was really satisfying.
I agree.
Happy.
Yeah.
Dude, I was a bit worried with that one shot that it looks like they were about to.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then it just cuts to Orson Krennic and...
Yeah.
Because it didn't pressure in a romance story. It let the possibility that, hey, if these characters had survived many more years, maybe they would have gotten more romantically involved than they were. But, you know, they've known each other for maybe a couple weeks at most.
If that.
Yeah, like...
It feels like just one day.
Yeah, seriously. So they're close friends, kind of. So it's cool to see them like clutching each other as the last people alive in the closest vicinity. Just looking for comfort in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good way to end that, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Also, just to bring that up, the choice the writers took.
Or no?
Well, I was just gonna say that they killed off everybody in the story.
Great idea. Great idea.
Yeah. Well, it could be taken both ways, I think.
It's something that we don't normally see in movies.
Yeah.
And I think it was just great to have a distinction.
Yeah, and I think even bigger than just like, why aren't they in the other movies? It really shows that Disney is willing to put the story ahead of the marketing sometimes, because they killed off all of their action figures. So what's the incentive to get your Jyn Erso action figure now, because the character is dead?
Does she even have an action figure?
Probably.
Because Disney has been like skipping out on female characters.
But she's the main character.
Have they?
Well,
yeah.
Yes, they don't have any Black Widow or what's her name from
Scarlet Witch.
No, from
I forget that that's Disney.
Gamora.
Oh yeah.
They don't have any action figures for them, so.
There are action figures for Jin Urso. Apparently Jin is spelled Jyn, which I did not
Yes.
know. Good to
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because we watched it with subtitles. That's how I know.
Oh.
Spanish subtitles.
Oh yeah, I guess
Yeah.
you.
However, the
Yeah, I guess you
subtitles
did.
did misspell a few things. I did notice that.
Yes. It was so distracting at some points.
Yes, it's like when they label the planets, like I would accidentally read the Spanish subtitles, like, wait, what does that say? Oh, wait, that's
I
not the
don't
right one.
understand because I was trying to read in English and that didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
So
Yeah.
next up we have K2SO.
Hey.
What? What?
Yeah, I think he's one of my favorite characters in the movie.
Yeah.
No, listen, I loved his snarky remarks, but I didn't really get emotionally attached to him. So when he died, I was like, okay. Like, I knew this was going to happen, so.
Well, yeah.
You know, he was funny. He was the comic relief of the movie. And I think that in a lot of movies, the comic relief is really, like, stupid or whatever. So I like how they had him as a snarky, sarcastic guy. But I don't usually like the comic relief of movies.
Okay.
I really liked him. I think K2SO is what R2D2 would be if R2D2 could talk.
No, it's Chopper.
Just sort of that sarcastic and really kind of
Yeah.
funny.
Not
And
re- not
the nice
really.
thing is his humor doesn't ruin the darker tone of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind
He's
of
in
adds
line
to
with
it.
that. Yeah. For sure. And he like a couple things that we have associated with droids going into this movie is that droids are
Annoying.
not all that useful, sometimes funny, but mostly just there for comic relief. In this movie, he reaches out, catches a grenade, and tosses it back like it's nothing. Like
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
actually
And he
useful
saves their
for
lives
something.
like multiple times.
Yeah. Whereas like I don't mean to speak badly necessarily about R2D2 and C3PO, but they really, especially in the prequels, were very much just
Well,
there for comic relief.
Yeah.
R2
and-
actually is the only useful characters of the two. Because
True.
he would be the only one who actually goes and saves the characters in the last minutes. He fixes the hyperdrive on
True.
Millennium Falcon. Does a bunch
I mean,
of crap
it
in
all
the
starts
prequels.
with Star Wars because he would not stay at the house and he went out to go look for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that's how it all started, pretty much.
Yeah. He's the one who
Yeah.
will actually do things. So C3PO will just be like, my goodness, no.
Yeah, I think in the past couple, well, in this movie and in Force Awakens, they did a really good job of just giving the droids specific, definable, realistic-ish personalities. They did a good job
Yeah.
with BB-8. I'm really satisfied with what they did with this new droid, too.
Oh, and K2SO is also a big part of one of my favorite moments when I rewatched the movie in the theater, which was the moment where Jin shoots the droid that looks exactly like him.
Yes.
And every screening that I went to, no matter how many people were there, you could hear the gasp in the audience. A few people would whisper, "Oh no!"
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was. It was a good scene because like again we've seen the droids in the past movies and they're kind of just dispensable. And in this one,
like R2 gets hurt all the time.
yeah, and 3PO gets torn apart in at least one of the
Two
more
movies
than
at
one.
least.
Yeah. So like we can see how just dispensable they are. So for them to just straight out shoot their comic relief early on was like, wait, what? They're doing that? Or the fact that they implied that just is great because that kind of it changed our thoughts on it. it made us think, well, okay, he's dead. What happens for the rest of the movie? Does he just stay dead? Is this supposed to be a sad moment? And then he comes in, and we're like, oh, okay, he's alive.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Yeah.
And so, like, he is still in our heads. He still is dispensable. Like Speedy said that, like, when he died, she didn't really care. I thought it was sad, but yeah, I agree. It wasn't as sad as some of the other deaths.
He had a very honorable death that
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
made it better than just blowing up or whatever.
Like 3 characters in the movie. Actually,
That's actually one really awesome
Actually,
solution.
wait, no. A lot of characters blew up in this movie.
Yeah.
If you really think of it. Orson Krennic was shot by the Death Star. The pilot blew up with a ship.
Which one's Krennic?
He's the white suited
okay.
guy.
Yeah.
You can see Baze and Chirrut, they were killed by an explosion, and so was Jin and Cassian.
Yeah.
It actually it eliminates
And all
that,
the people in the
yeah.
spaceships.
It eliminates that question of are they really dead? Because they just blew up.
Yeah. Also, like, okay, so especially when I was watching, I kept on seeing characters die, and I'm like, they really dead? Are they just, like, kind of asleep? Are they... What's happening? And then an explosion comes by, and you're like, oh, nope, never mind.
No, they're gone.
They're gone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then also...
Well done.
Yeah, what? Yes?
Oh, yeah. I'll talk about this later.
Yes? I think he's talking with his mother or something.
Okay. Next up, we have Chirrut.
Oh my word. Yeah, he's my favorite.
Yes.
Who's typing?
Sorry, that was me.
Okay.
So epic.
I had to look up a character name list real quick.
Chirrut
Went on the IMDb.
Imwe.
Yes.
He was the
definitely.
blind non-Jedi Jedi.
Yes.
He was awesome. Like,
They're so cool.
the street going to and from my house to the movie theater, there are cars everywhere. It's almost impossible to cross. So right after seeing the movie, I was tempted to chant, "I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me," as I was running across the street.
Yeah, and I did the same thing while I was walking up to his house today. I actually almost got hit by a car. It was fun.
Oh my word.
Okay, the Force was with you.
The Force was with you. It protected you.
Uh-huh. I'm one of the Force, and the Force is with me. Who's that?
Andres.
Oh! Okay.
Yeah, and then with his death scene, that was one of those scenes where the explosion was really helpful because I'm like, come on, duck down, get behind the thing, and then the thing blows up, so I'm like, oh, even if he had, that wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about the one thing I did not like about Chirrut's death scene, well, the events leading up to it was like, you have to hit this switch, and the switch is like right there in the open, like there's like a spotlight on it. You know what I'm saying? It was a little cheesy. I didn't like that.
It depends on how you view it.
I could understand that. I guess the troops there didn't know that that's what they were going for. But yeah, and also like he had the whole like, I'm one with the Force is with me, walk all the way there, and then he gets there and nobody shoots at him while he's trying to actually like flip the switch. I'm like, that's a little odd.
Stop chanting,
okay.
something's gonna
Especially
happen.
since the people who are shooting are the Death Troopers.
I know. Galen Erso put the master switch right there, and he designed the clones' blasters. Or stormtroopers' blasters. This solves everything.
It just, yeah, it makes sense.
Rogue One sequel, we get to find out how that works out. The design of the Death Troopers. Everything behind it. All leading up to Chirrut's. That's just the end of the movie right there.
Make a movie about every plot hole in every Star Wars movie.
Yes, like this one did.
I like that this one answered the question as to why the Death Star was so vulnerable.
I mean, so in my opinion, I
Yeah,
feel like any giant ship should have some sort of flaw in
exhaust
it.
port.
Just in like, yeah, like you have to be able to move the ship somehow, which means you have to have some sort of thruster, which means if you hit the thruster with something, something's going to go wrong. So that was never really a problem, but this did like make a better solution
Yeah,
at least.
yeah. It was never really a problem for me, although it would make sense that if there was no thing like that, it would only blow up just part of the ship.
Yeah,
But
I guess that's true.
I think this will answer some people's questions.
Yeah.
Stubborn people.
Just accept Star Wars as it
It's
is.
like, why does he become Rogue Red 5? Well, now they have to answer that too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, also, so I was just thinking about this. On TV, they've been marathoning the Star Wars movies.
Uh-huh.
I don't think the prequels, but the original trilogy. My dad pointed out that I think in episode 5, they called out a ship that was called Rogue 2. So that was just an interesting thing when I was thinking about it when we were going in to see Rogue One, that they named an entire other ship Rogue 2.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just in their memory. Which, when I realized that they did have another ship, I was like, oh, that means my thoughts about the movie going into it are probably wrong. Because I had just watched Matt Pat's theory
Yes.
on, yeah,
That would have
on
been so
the.
cool.
Which
It would have
theory?
been interesting for sure. The theory that the Rogue Squad ended up being the Knights of Red.
Oh, I have no reason to just understand that theory. I think that would just be fan service to the max if that were the case.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
That would be George Lucas levels of.
George Lucas.
I mean,
connecting
but to be
everything.
fair, this whole movie was basically fan service when you
Yes,
think about
it
it.
was. It was unnecessary, but I loved it.
Oh, the nice thing about it is that Jyn Erso is not Rey's mom.
Yeah, that's confirmed.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it was confirmed by most people
Yeah. But that was one speculation.
before they even watched it.
Yeah.
That would
This
have been
is
so confusing.
Definitely confirmed.
I was
Yeah.
expecting their death to be much more darker. Like Darth Vader comes in and just starts chopping everyone up. We'll talk about that later, of
Yeah.
course. But
Yes.
Okay, so next on our list is Director
Bay-
Krennic.
Okay. Or we should probably just talk about Bay's
Well,
Jared's partner.
I'm going by my handy list of who was most important to the plot.
Krennic.
I actually
Not
really
first
like.
build.
Okay.
I think like I don't know if this will be like a contender for Oscars. I think like mid-range, if they don't go the way that I think they're going, it may get like best adapted screenplay. But if they go all out, I think they should nominate Ben Mendelsohn for Orson Krennic because he does a very good job of like the subtleties of the character, but also not feeling out of place in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job, and especially like his performance definitely looked a lot better against the CGI. Oh, what's his face?
Darker.
The dude over him. That was distracting for me, but
He definitely made
That's a
me hate
later
him.
conversation.
Yeah, it's a later conversation.
sorry, bringing up other
No,
topics.
that's fine to bring it up.
It's fine to bring it up, but don't just go into an entire discussion on him.
Yeah. But anyways, no, I think I agree. He did a great job, especially like one thing you don't see often in like leader roles is any form of speech impediment.
Mhm.
And he had a slight lisp
Yeah.
on his words, which I think was interesting in just the diversification aspect, but also you saw that he wasn't as good of a leader as he should have been. He wasn't completely like cold towards
Drawn.
everything. He obviously wasn't a good guy, but he had aspects of him that you were like, hey, I know what that's like, kind of. Like,
Human aspects.
yeah, exactly. And I thought that was really good to see in a villain.
Yeah, that's
We don't really see that in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So this was great.
And I like how he's like, even after Galen Erso sort of confesses to having sent the message, there's still like this part of Krennic that's like, hey, this guy's my friend, isn't he? I should try and turn him back to the Empire's side. And sort of that idea of he's desperate to find a friend, and
Yeah.
he's trying to make Galen Erso sort of fit that role.
Fulcrum. Oh, sorry. There's just a bunch. You guys don't have any clue what I'm saying, but if you follow Rebels, then you know what I'm saying. It's inside joke, so I'm the only one.
Okay.
Oh, and that scene where like the Death Star and he looks up at the Death Star and then they fire the Death Star, like the poetic justice in that, and on his face you can still see that like tiny little bit of pride of like, this is my invention.
Yeah. But it's also, coming to kill me.
Yeah.
So
It was a shame
downsides,
that
but, yeah.
it was a shame that his own weapon, he couldn't actually take any credit for it. So.
Oh yeah, and great organic way to make the credit go away. Like, why don't you hear about him if he's the inventor of the Death Star? Well, Tarkin took over that sort of buried Krennic's achievements.
Mm-hmm. I will say, we'll talk about this later. We're talking about Tarkin, but there's just one small thing that I just kind of bugged me that I wish they pointed out. But up next we have Baze, Chirrut's friend.
Yeah.
The dude with the gun?
Yeah, the dude with the gun.
Watching it a third time, I caught one line that I hadn't caught before. It turns out that Baze was once more devoted to the Force than Chirrut.
Really?
Yeah, so there's one small line, and that's actually, I would be interested in seeing or reading something about sort of his journey, and that added another layer of depth to the character when I watched it again.
I believe for him there was supposed to be this extra layer about the Empire destroying the Jedha, but destroying his home, but that was taken out of the movie.
Yeah. Another thing that was taken out of the movie, I don't know if this was actually going to happen ever, but one of the, either Chirrut or Baze, was going to be originally an Imperial spy, and one of the actors accidentally revealed that in an interview. And so when I was watching the movie, I had that in the back of my mind. And when Baze asked sort of, what is the weakness in the Death Star, that I was a little bit suspicious, but I'm kind of glad it didn't turn out that he was an Imperial spy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were saying, Speedy?
I don't remember.
Okay. Okay. Baze's character, I think there wasn't a lot to him. They focused more on the other characters. He was just sort of there to say he's there for Chirrut's character.
Yeah, it was a really cool bromance that they had.
Mm-hmm.
I think throughout the entire film, and it was interesting because a lot of the vibes that I was getting throughout this whole thing was kind of a religion commentary throughout the whole thing. Just because in all the other movies they've been so focused on Jedi versus Sith. And in this movie, this was the middle ground. Nobody was really a Jedi, and we only saw Darth Vader as a Sith.
Yeah.
And so it was cool to see, especially just to see, sorry, names are escaping me. Chirrut so devoted, and yet his friend was not very he seemed to be very much in disbelief of the Force, or against it almost, right up until the end, but yet they were such close friends.
Yeah.
Despite their differences in opinions. And
I
think
found
that
it interesting the way the Force was portrayed in this.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't really how in the other movies it was portrayed as this, like, big thing that the Jedi is the main power. It was just kind of, I don't know, hope for them?
Yeah.
In a
Like hope.
sense?
It was the Force was almost it basically was somewhat religious in that like when they were scared they would call on it, but they'd never used it aggressively. Like nobody besides Vader like pushed someone away or pulled something with the Force. It was like knowledge more so.
Yeah.
Knowledge,
Well,
trust, faith, hope.
Donnie Yen's character, Chirrut, it seems like his character was Force sensitive, but he probably wasn't that sensitive enough to make him, to have him, the training to make him a proper Jedi or anything. It just seems he had enough to sense things around him, like the character from Force Awakens. What's her name?
Ray?
No.
Maz.
Maz Kanata. Yes.
Yes. Right. Interestingly, so one thing that I kept on thinking while Chirrut was swinging around his stick is, one, what are Imperial troops' armors made out of because he's beating them with a stick?
And also, when the impacts, when he hit them with a stick, you could see that some of the armor was broke away and shattered.
Yeah.
And so, it's probably a pretty strong stick.
Right, and I was thinking,
Yeah.
this is a stick, how is the stick not breaking? So apparently, at least in the extended universe, I don't know how much is carrying over to this universe, but in the extended universe, there was the idea of Force-imbued weapons, or Force-imbued items,
Yes,
which
yes.
basically Jedi would use the Force and basically make an object magical, which meant that it had certain traits. So a lot of people would imbue things like sticks with the Force, more like staffs, I guess, would be a more
sticks.
appropriate term. So that's what I'm assuming he had in this, and that's why it had such a very like iconic look to it and a very sturdy hit to it.
Yeah.
And also he never like threw his stick away to get a new stick. That was his stick.
Yeah.
So
Staff.
it's more fun to call it a stick.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think that part was like, it took me a couple seconds, but yeah, I think if that is indeed how they're going about it, I'm glad that that's part of the universe that they're
Oh, the pilot?
bringing in. I'm still utterly confused as to what clone troopers armor is made out of and why they even wear it if it doesn't block lasers.
Yeah.
Rebels made a
But-
quip about that.
I saw a video where there's a theory that the armor is very resistant. So what happens is a stormtrooper gets knocked out when you shoot them with a blaster, so then all you need to do is take him out of the armor and give him new armor. And so that's why there are so many.
That makes sense. So just shooting the armor would be like a bulletproof vest. You're still gonna get hurt by it getting shot, but you're not gonna die. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Again, just a theory, but
Oh, and my theory is that they can't mass produce good armor, but they still need to have an identity for them, so they just pull up anything like that.
Well, their money is going towards the Death Star. They can't afford real armor.
Yeah. Politics. And the only good soldiers they have were the Death Troopers, but... So, yeah.
well, quote unquote good.
Quote-unquote good.
So
Up next, we have the defected Imperial pilot, Bodhi Rook.
yes.
Oh yeah.
So one thing that probably the most notable thing about his character for me was that I couldn't place his accent, and I haven't looked it up, but that's sort of been like in the back of my head whenever the character talks.
He was
Yeah.
born in London.
Yeah. But it didn't sound
Yeah.
English.
No, it sounded like
Jason Bourne.
I wonder what his parents talked at home, you know?
Yeah, it almost sounded like it was a New Zealand accent in
Yeah.
some senses, and then other times it sounded Australian, and sometimes I got a hint of British.
Yeah.
It was definitely an interesting accent, and it didn't help that like some of the first times we heard him talk, or one of the first times, he had just gotten brain sucked by a monster
Or
thing.
gullet.
Yeah.
Buckle it.
He is of Pakistani descent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of figured that much.
But that is about it.
Again, let's talk quickly about the boar gullet monster. A lot of people have been wondering why it's in the movie.
Yeah.
The best explanation I can find is that all of the original trilogy movies and The Force Awakens, they all have like a strange monster somewhere in them. And for the most part, the prequel trilogy, they don't have them. I mean, the second one
Right.
has a strange monster, and then the third one has one, but not as an enemy. So that's the best I could figure out.
That makes sense. I can see that.
Again, doesn't quite explain why it.
It's
had to
probably
be there,
it's
but-
probably just they needed a way to have him, just more trusting to Sagara to get the information, so they just needed an excuse for that.
Yeah, I guess that makes it's kind of a cop out regardless, but whatever. It was cool.
It was an interesting scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I turned to my mom as it was happening, like as the tentacles were kind of just latching onto his temples, and she had the best expression ever. It was great.
Okay. The pilot really didn't have much to him. It was just a subtle, like, I could make it right, and that was it.
Oh, one
It
thing.
was. Oh, go ahead.
One thing I did notice about him, there was one moment in the movie where someone was talking about Galen Erso, and then it switched to a shot of Bodhi, and I noticed just how similar they looked, and sort of like the mentor role Galen Erso played in Bodhi's life, and that Bodhi is sort of what Jin would have been.
That's cool.
Huh.
Yeah, I kind of got that too when I was watching it as well. Like Urso meant a lot to Bodhi, you know?
Yeah, and also like when he found out that Jin was Urso's daughter, like there was a definite like spark in his eye when he saw that connection.
Okay, so Galen Erso.
Who's the actor who played Galen Erso? Because
Mads Mikkelsen.
I know I've seen him. Oh, was he? Oh, that's why. Yeah, never mind.
He was in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, I know I've seen him recently too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I haven't
really
seen
like-
that yet.
His face looks very bad guy-ish.
Yeah.
But I liked
it's
how
very
he's
sinister.
He's also Hannibal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked how he's the hero, though. Like, in most movies, he's the villain, but in this one, he's a hero.
Yeah, and
Playing as a
fatherly
villain,
figure.
which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I guess this is a great time to talk about the opening credits sequence, because I have a theory that the text scroll was replaced by the scene on the planet with young Jin.
Hmm.
Which is why right after
Oh.
that scene, the title comes up.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but I was thinking this is really odd for Star Wars to throw in like a short
Well,
prequel like segment.
Backstory.
well.
Yeah. Huh.
At first I was kind
Not
of
making
like,
it a whole movie.
Yeah.
there's this point in it that didn't have an opening title, but then I remembered that Rebels does that all the time, where they introduce the title later, and so I just they gave it, because I know that the creators in Rebels and the creators for Rogue One, they actually work together to not mix things up. So,
and
yeah,
they are dealing with a new canon for the story because they can't rely on any extended universe stuff really that happened after Episode 6. So I guess the only things that they have canon are the prequels, the original trilogy, Episode 7, Rogue One, and I think Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Oh, and anything that happened before
the
first
new comic books after they bought.
Right. So like things like Star Wars: The Old Republic are still canon, but
Star Wars: The Old Republic is not really canon. We don't really know that.
Yeah, the way they said it is
a legend.
It is or it isn't until they say otherwise.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's not ruled out yet. Okay, that makes
it's
sense.
just some aspects are canon, but not the actual series.
Okay. Yeah, the I played through a little bit of SWOTR, but there were definitely some parts that I would have probably left out. But
KOTOR or SOTOR? Knights of the Old Republic or
SWOTR.
Just
the Old Republic.
Okay.
No, I haven't played Knights of the Old Republic yet.
All right. Galen Erso.
Oh, one thing, adding a little bit of depth to his character, something I found out after I went to see the movie. He's actually originally he was employed to help build the Death Star, except he wasn't told about it. So his wife actually found out that he was working on the Death Star, so they ran away to sort of hopping around the galaxy trying to find a safe place. And then eventually Krennic found them, and that's where the movie starts.
Okay.
Right.
And then that's the thing of, well, why did he have to build the Death Star? Originally, the Separatist plans that you see in episodes 2 and 3, they weren't detailed enough. So Erso was brought in to help flesh out the plans. And that's why
the
they
inner
needed
workings so much. Because
like they had the concept art.
They had the concept and the idea of what it could possibly do, and just small testings. Actually, no. I think they did have. No, they had everything beforehand.
No, they didn't know how it was going to work, so that's what Erso was working on.
Well, actually, no. Before Erso, they did, because in Rebels and before in Clone Wars, there was always the idea that the kyber crystals were being taken by the Separatists.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think
that
the exact mechanisms were.
They knew that the kyber crystal could power the weapon.
And by the time of Rebels, Yalen Erso is working for.
Yeah. And before then, in Clone Wars, I don't know what's going on there. But the canon to all of this is really confusing.
I would have to read the Catalyst novel to actually understand exactly what's happening, because that explains everything.
But you did bring up the kyber crystals. I think that's important because that way people who have only seen the movies, which is me, one of them, now can see, oh, okay, so the Death Star is using the same form of power and energy that lightsabers do. And that's an interesting...
And if they also follow the TV shows,
then
they would understand too.
So yeah, it's definitely interesting. Kyber crystals in general are a really interesting plot point to have in total, just because of their implications to lightsabers, and how kyber crystals are almost force infused, like they kind of like just radiate force. So it's interesting that they were able to use them in building the Death Star.
Yeah.
Oh, one quick thing as well. Something that stood out to me is Chirrut at one point says the strongest stars have hearts of kyber. And so I was sort of thinking on that. And then I realized something. Jin's nickname, her dad's nickname for her is Stardust.
Yeah.
Starlight.
Oh.
Stardust.
Dust.
So I was
Dust?
wondering.
Mhm.
Is there any expanded universe implication about that?
Not that I know of. They did bring up when they're going through the files, right before they came across the file Stardust, they brought up the file, or they looked at the file. I think it was like Black Saber,
Yeah.
which has its own implications.
Yeah.
Especially with
That
kyber
one
crystals.
is in the Clone Wars, though.
Clone Wars and
Right.
now in Rebels.
Right.
So
So while we figure out the Stardust meanings in the
Stardust.
extended universe, let's talk quickly about Saw.
So Korea. So
yeah, it's like Saw. That's a different movie franchise entirely. Never mind.
Yeah, that scene where he
happened to me the other-
dismembered someone.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Yeah.
maybe the Boar Gullet scene was just an introduction into the whole torture dungeon scene in Nobody Wrote the Saw.
Game.
you want to play a game?
That could potentially have been one of his lines.
Hello, I want to play a game. You see, Bogullet is a creature who can reach your mind and search for your lies, and we will know the truth. In order to get out of it, you must cut out your brain. Feed it the Bogullet. Find the key to leave.
His character was interesting. The voice didn't bother me the first time I watched it. It is a little strange, and it's a strange choice. However, with the idea that he has like these breathing problems or something, it would make sense that his voice is a little bit weak.
Yeah. But he was so dramatic as well, which I felt like got a little overboard at times. Like, I loved him, but...
Save the
like, oh.
rebellion!
Yeah.
Save the dream!
Yeah, when
Forrest
he said
Whitaker.
save the dream, that kind of broke it for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, that's...
Okay.
It's a good line, but I was just like, that's... Okay.
Forrest
Good choice.
Whitaker was distracted by the blinding light of being in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they brought in a character from the Clone Wars. Saw Gerrera was one of the rebels in season 5 premiere with the planet of Alderaan, and you know his sister was the leader, if you remember that. Or did you not see that yet? But they brought him in, and I'm glad that they made the connection, but my only problem is that his eye is a different color. In the Clone Wars, his eyes are blue. Now, they're bringing his character into Rebels when they return in January, and he is going to be voiced by Forrest Whitaker, which I think is cool. But I noticed that they also changed his eye color again, and now it's green, and so I think the theory is the older he gets, his eyes start changing color.
You know, man, what if he just likes colored contacts?
And then he
Maybe
gets
that's
too old
just
to
a-
wear them.
Lies! Deceptions!
So I'm trying to find the history of, like, the name, right? What, like, explanation of Stardust, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I came across a fan fiction already on the movie. I'm like, oh, never mind.
All right. Yeah.
I start
Don't
reading. I'm like, wait, this
stop
is
looking,
what?
Speedy. Stop looking.
Stardust Rule 34. No.
Okay, so next up on our list, we are going to be discussing Tarkin.
Ah, yes, Tarkin.
So let's get the CGI discussion out of the way before we
Okay,
actually
let's-
discuss his role.
Let's do it.
I didn't even realize that his face was CGI. Like, I had no idea. So I'm just gonna kind of like be quiet on this.
the
because I really hadn't.
technology is actually really close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Realistic.
especially because like the first time I think I had ever recognized a character's face being CGI was Tron.
Yeah.
Jeff
Bridges.
the original Tron. Yes, yeah. And I was like, that looks weird. And this one, it looked really, really good.
Yeah.
But you could still tell that it was
I think
CGI if
It,
you were
it,
paying
it was
attention.
steadily hinted to CGI.
For
Yeah,
most
for
people,
me.
I would say like 70 to 80% of the reason it falls into the uncanny valley is that they know the actor is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, the first time I watched it, I didn't even really like. There were a few scenes that were like, oh, he looks like he stepped out of a video game. But for most of it, it was
Right.
just like the shock of, wait, are they really doing this?
Yeah. Where like so to bring up another CGI character, Carrie Fisher,
Yeah.
obviously we've seen her
Old.
in even the Star Wars franchise as older,
Mm-hmm.
but I think her like she looked better mostly because she didn't move as much. I
Yeah.
think that was a bigger giveaway. Just because when you move, that means the face has to get tracked onto that, which means there's probably going to be a slight delay, and that's what made me pick up on it. Um, when I was watching through for the Carrie Fisher scene, I was like, "Huh, she doesn't actually look all that CGI." And then I was looking around her face to figure out what did look computer generated, and I noticed that Leia's teeth were very, very white and shiny, despite the fact that there should have been
Yeah.
a shadow there.
It-
Either way,
Maybe that was it. The thing is, I felt like they made her look very young, even for what she looked like when she was acting in that movie. Like,
well,
I didn't. I feel like there would have been a little bit more of a definition in her facial features.
yeah.
Part of the problem here is that like Peter Cushing, his face is very angular, so that's very easy to
Angular and very different
Yeah.
colors.
and it's very well defined. Whereas Carrie Fisher has a rounder face.
that's true.
True.
Well, I think the only thing that really bothered me about the CGI in the movie was the Carrie Fisher cameo at the end. When I saw that, I didn't think it was CGI. I just thought that they just got a cosplayer. And
I thought they got her daughter to do it. But
yeah, that would have been probably better. But
That would have been so cute.
However, since it's happening
the
like
colors on her face, I feel like they look much brighter, including her hair. I think that her hair color should have been darker than what it was.
I think
Yeah.
the fact though that it's happening like moments before episode 4, that makes it really, really hard to just fake it with makeup.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need something.
Overall, she also did look a little bit like too angelic, almost like the white balance was like
Yeah.
overexposed. But you know, overall, CGI wasn't bad for character faces, for anything else that I can think of. No, I think it was good. It was also nice to see old characters that we wouldn't see otherwise.
Yeah.
I think maybe they used those characters too much in the story, especially for them to have CGI faces. But it was good.
I think the bigger fact than just the CGI is that they actually did it. They didn't expect these characters to just be on the sideline. They actually included these characters.
Yeah, that was good.
And it adds a slight layer of depth to Tarkin's character. And I guess we should probably transition into his actual role in the movie.
Hold there. Yeah, I should now talk about the thing that I was kind of annoyed by. But Tarkin, he mentions when he's took control of the Death Star that he will take control of the weapon that he first mentioned years ago, and it kind of annoyed me because we know that it was first mentioned way before by the Geonosians, and so I'm just wondering. So did the Emperor just give him credit for him, or I don't know what's going on there, because I think that's probably the case because in Clone Wars, Tarkin talked about how he and the Emperor were like buddy, and so I think that the Emperor gave them the hint of the weapon idea, and that's probably where that came from. To me, it just kind of felt like they were trying to ignore the prequels, so.
Yeah, I felt that a little bit too.
Well, who isn't?
Yeah.
Yikes.
So is
Yeah.
that all for Tarkin?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't.
Eh,
He
not much,
actually had
really.
a surprisingly big role, and that just adds it into like the rest of the Star Wars fold. It feels like it's a part, even if the CGI isn't always the best.
Hmm.
So next up on our list we have Vader.
Dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
That end scene, like,
Well, hold on. Let's first
Okay.
talk about his first scene on Mustafar.
Yeah.
it was a little jarring. Like, James Earl Jones' voice
You could tell he was older.
Yeah. And then also the lines they gave him were a little bit more comedic. So you have, or not comedic, but cartoonish. So you have Ben Mendelsohn, who's like serious actor, and he's taking these lines seriously, but not too seriously. And then there's Vader, who has like, be careful not to choke on your aspirations,
Aspirations.
sister. Ha ha ha, get it? Choke.
Yeah. I see, when I saw it, I was thinking, like, I actually thought more of Anakin in the prequels when I was listening to him, because I was like, he's making a lot of, like, really bold statements that are, like, really almost
Yeah.
young, like juvenile. Not juvenile, but like they don't sound like they're coming from a large pool of experience. So when I was watching through the movie, I knew that it was between episode 3 and episode 4. I just didn't know how close it was to episode 4 until the ending.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, okay, so this is like maybe 10 years before episode 4. That makes sense why Vader's acting like this. But it definitely was interesting to see Vader this way.
Yeah.
Also, good on them for embracing the flaws of the Vader costume from the original for the sake of continuity.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
that they took him out of the whole costume to, like, he was soaking in some water beforehand.
Yes.
I like that. That was like,
That was
hey,
yeah.
he needs to come out of his suit every once in a while. That makes sense.
I thought that was really interesting. I never actually thought of Vader doing that.
Yeah.
In his back to tank. That's what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah,
Is what?
that should be
Back to
correct.
tank. It's when when you're in a tank to get healed faster.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure if this is still canon, but the Emperor purposefully made flaws in the armor to actually hurt him when he tries to move, to put him in his place. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. And also, like, dark side stuff.
Yeah.
Anger leads to whatever.
And
Whatever.
so that's just kind of what I thought of. He needs to heal up from all that pain of the robotic arms.
Yeah.
And they actually detached the robotic arms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, they did?
And
Oh yeah, he was just stubby legs and arms.
yeah. And it was cool because obviously in the original Star Wars movie, at that point I don't think George Lucas had planned that, Vader was a kid who had his arms and legs chopped off. I don't think he had written that yet, so we didn't know that, so they couldn't really have a scene.
Hinted at by
Right.
Obi-Wan in the first movie, like he's more
machine than man.
Right. But we just didn't really know all of those details yet. So the fact that, hey, now we have all these details, why not throw it in?
Or was that Return of the Jedi?
I believe that's the...
It might have been the sixth one. I don't know.
Yeah, we gotta rewatch those movies.
I just watched
Yeah.
them today. And I don't even remember.
I haven't seen him in too long.
Yeah, it's been a year for me.
To say.
Okay, so his last scene, that's one of those scenes, like, I've seen the movie 4 times, and for the last 3 times, that was, like, the one moment. The Battle of Jeddah is over, and so you're sort of coming down from that, and then I'm like, wait, there's the Darth Vader scene next.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that one is so cool.
I love how it was done.
And then, like, So when I went to see it the first time, you see like you hear the door open and the black smoke starts pouring out, and you hear footsteps, and I was like, "Are those clone troopers?" And then you hear his breathing, and the lightsaber goes out, and I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And then he just starts like tearing the thing to shreds, and it's like, for the first time, you get to see why is Darth Vader scary.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
And also, it's rumored that that's not even the scariest scene. They cut out a scene from Darth Vader. Or maybe a couple of scenes. Because you do actually see a clip of Darth Vader in the trailers that wasn't in the movie, where he's looking at the star maps.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited to see if they put that in the bonus content when it comes out on DVD, just to see what they took out.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they give a little bit more to Jin. Just to be honest, I think that the part, honestly, the scene at the beginning, the whole flashback scene, might not have been necessary.
No.
I think they're playing to appeal to more audiences like that, but in the process, it made me feel like, oh, I feel kind of stupid now, or like you're calling me stupid because you're explicitly saying this rather than helping me figure it out on my own.
Stardust. I think that's the only reason for it, just to yell at your face, Stardust again.
I don't know. I like that they sort of took a step back with Jin, because one of the complaints that I'm seeing with the Star Wars universe more recently is that the director, I don't know if she's actually the head of Lucasfilm, but she recently said that she's trying to make Star Wars more woman friendly, but in the process she's kind of sidelining the male demographic, which has historically been the people who go to see Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I feel like the fact that they cut down on her character and made it more of a team movie, if they could do that with other movies, I feel like that would bring it, instead of cutting out the male audience, it's bringing in the male and the female audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Vader.
Good.
Here's the thing. The thing I really love about the end scene is just the build up to it. Like, we just see them take the plans, and then, they're locked. That's just the first sign of trouble. It gave me a Titanic kind of feel, where, I don't know, the lower class was trapped in the basement. I don't remember. But that's just a weird thought I had.
Basement of a boat.
But then you just hear the door open, and it's just this long pause of them wondering what's coming up behind them. And then I just love their reactions afterwards. It's just terrified in their face and just open fire. And I loved how Darth Vader's movements in the lightsaber, wasn't, over the top like in the prequels.
Backflips.
It was just simple, block and slice when you're up close to them. Yeah.
Right. I'm sure it would be hard to do backflips in a Darth Vader suit, to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing that I appreciated about it, they didn't have Vader in it too much, which I've seen some people complain about. But I think what it really does is it keeps Vader preserved, like his character.
Yeah.
So he's more of like a force to be reckoned with in Rogue One than an actual character.
Yeah, and to expand on that, I really like that they didn't have the Emperor at all in this movie.
Yeah.
I actually didn't. But
the way I see it is the Emperor is like the highest of the high.
Well, right now he's just in politics.
Right. But, like, Vader is the real scary one. Like, nobody really knows what all the Emperor can do, but Vader, everybody knows that name. Everybody fears that name.
They dread to be the admirals for him.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think it was good that they included Vader, because that helped us flesh out, okay, this is why you should be scared of this dude. But they didn't add in the Emperor because we more or less knew enough about him, and he's scary for sure, but I think it's good that we don't see him because if you're just watching through Rogue One and the original trilogy,
he didn't show up until the very end.
right? And well, like we see him occasionally, I think in episode 5.
Well, he
But-
just once, and he just tells Lord Vader to get Luke.
Right. But like it really, if you're just watching through those, like we didn't even know about Force Lightning until the last movie.
Yeah.
We're like, whoa, that's so cool. Like that really builds that part of the Force up.
Not really, because we see him do it in the third movie.
Well, yeah, but if you don't
if you don't watch the third movie, which
Hey, we have
Actually,
to
no.
watch the prequels, okay?
okay. I would say definitely the third movie. The third movie is good.
the better of the three.
Yes. It actually has like good character development.
Yeah.
Episode
I
2.
can't get over Anakin.
So next we have sort of a list of cameos to sort of touch on, and I guess not all of these are technically cameos, but these are people who didn't really have a big role in the movie.
So, Bail Organa.
Hey, I was glad to see him because it was like, hey, this is a character that we saw in episode 3 and probably episode 2. Don't remember if we did or not.
Yeah.
Either way, it was like, hey, this is a really good connecting piece, and we get to see what he's like after all these years. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna send someone. She's got it, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we know who that is. It's probably Leia, because like he's her adopted dad. That's cool. I like that.
Yes, and then we also... What are we doing? Not right now. Yeah, not right now, though.
No, but who is that?
General Dodonna? He's the...
I figured it out.
I'll explain to you when we actually get to him. But, yeah, I always love how the last scene we saw him, he's talking to Captain Antilles about he has a mission for him. And, you know, that's also, like, another nod to the end and the start of the next movie. It's like, oh, okay. We're building that up. Yay.
And then that sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge reference to Obi-Wan and then Leia.
Yes. And then 3PO and R2-D2's cameo there.
It was
That made
as
me laugh.
long as it needed to be.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. That was good.
It was like,
It wasn't overdone.
what? When that happened, it was like, wait, they're there? I thought they were in space.
Oh yeah, that was my one problem is they're on this ship that is at Scarif. However, they're standing around while the X-Wings are flying off to go to Scarif.
And also, well, there's another cameo that I'm just...
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, no, yeah, that happened.
Yes, but no.
But, no, the other cameo, I don't know his name.
Use your words. It's okay.
Okay, we're getting a lot of Blue Leader and the people from the episode 4 in the cantina.
Oh, those people. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yes, with the nose.
the butt face and crazy nose.
People with the nose.
With the nose.
You know, who gets his arm chopped off by Obi-Wan. Those people.
Oh yeah, that was one where I was like, wait, how
So-
did they get off Jeddah?
So they get off Jeddah and immediately go to Tatooine.
Yes,
That's-
bar hopping.
Yeah. And-
Desert planet hopping.
You know, I felt like it's a cameo that's it's one of the only cameos I thought that really does not need to be there. It's just telling you, oh, we know that this movie happened, so it's way too
Yeah.
self-aware there.
For me, it made me really happy that they were like because they're sort of playing into the nostalgia, not as much as The Force Awakens, but they're acknowledging that most people are there because it's Star Wars.
Yeah. It's like, why have those characters there? If you're gonna have those characters, you gotta flush them out.
Those are key characters to the plot, guys.
There should have been a line like, "Come on, let's go to Tatooine. I know a good canteen there." There should.
And then you have the problem of how much time is in between the two, because they could have been staying at the cantina for weeks then.
No, I think it's just a few hours in between.
Okay. But between
Right, but
the
from the
destruction
point-
of Jeddah, or between the moment when they see those characters and the
I
beginning of
think
episode 4, I think...
that's a couple of days.
Yeah.
And it's like at least a day between when they actually go
And
to the
it
bar,
also,
too.
it also makes sense because he needs to hop planets because he's a real criminal being hunted by the Empire, I would say. So
Maybe they stopped off over at, what's that planet's name? The other desert planet from Force Awakens.
Yeah, okay, so what's Star
Jakku?
Wars fetish with
Yeah, Jakku.
desert planets and just...
So we got
Desert and snow as
Geonosis,
well.
Tatooine, Jakku, and
I
Jedha. And
actually,
also Moraband.
Yeah, they're...
Maybe
I
it's
think-
fun to film in deserts. I don't know.
It's very iconic, though. And I think that's why they keep on going back, because the desert is always, like, very cinematic. And Star Wars has always been about being cinematic.
Yeah.
And one thing about Jeddah is it isn't like the sweeping deserts or the strange bug houses of Geonosis. It's actually like a rocky desert. And if you read into the extended lore, I believe it's also a cold desert. Which is why Cassian is wearing a winter jacket in the middle of the desert.
I'm not
I
sure.
did like how... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm not sure, like, what the implications about Jedha, is in this new canon, because, I kind of had the feel that this was supposedly the birthplace of the Jedi.
It did say it was the last Jedi temple, I think. At one point it said that. So that at least is important, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely got some like important.
Wikipedia. Nope.
Wiki-
Tython is.
Well,
Wikipedia.
according to the extended lore.
No longer.
But Jeddah
Jedi.
originally was like,
Jedha.
from what I understand, it was a very important holy site for the Jedi, and that's why there are kyber crystals there, and that's why there's also a Jedi temple there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting in this movie that they referred to it not as a Jedi temple, but a kyber temple, which I found.
It's probably where they bring in
Fascinating.
younglings to train them
Possibly, yeah.
Could be, yeah.
to get their lightsaber
Oh yeah,
crystals.
to get their lightsaber. That makes sense.
That and Ilum would be the place, I think.
I was gonna say I really did like how the last planet they're on. Well, I think it was Moon. The base where they were on
Edu?
was like a tropical paradise place. I think if I was the
Scarif.
Empire, that's where I would want to set up.
Exactly.
Just
Why
saying.
not? If you have the chance.
I actually really liked Edu.
Oh yeah.
Or the Imperial internment camp. I loved how the rings were sort of more like fog than actual rings. That was just a very quick shot. But...
Okay. So.
Oh, quickly on Jeddah, while we're still on that topic, the explosion, that was like really cool.
The single reactor.
Yes. Sort of like...
I'm glad that they acknowledged it as a single reactor being used. And so it gives you more about you can change the power on how you use the Death Star. And it's not just one shot, one kill.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
And then, yeah, just the way they did the explosion, since special effects have come so far that they can actually, like, flesh it out and give it more of that powerful feeling, sort of, what is it like to be on the ground?
Yeah. Like, you don't see that we didn't really see that portion of it in the, well, obviously when they blew up Alderaan, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting thought. We saw
It's cool that they have
kind
that
of,
perspective in.
yeah, we saw that kind of when Starkiller Base destroyed all those planets. But this was really cool because you got to see like the Earth erupting from where it shot. Like this giant beam of pure energy hits the ground, and you're like hundreds of miles away, and you're still seeing this giant earthquake effect hit you. Pretty crazy.
So the next cameo.
That actually isn't a cameo. General Dravin.
Well,
he's the main general you see throughout the movie.
that was not what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a character from any other movie.
No.
But
Well, let's do Mon Mothma.
yeah, Mon Mothma.
That was,
Yeah.
I think that was a
liked
bigger deal when the trailer came out. Like,
Yes.
in the movie, thinking back on the movie, even though I've seen it 4 times, nothing really stands out about her, and I think mainly that's because we saw her in the trailers.
Yeah. The actress who played her, Genevieve O'Reilly,
Genevieve O'Reilly.
did a good job. Liked her a lot.
Actually, she played Mon Mothma in the prequel trilogy, but they cut out all of her scenes, so you didn't actually see her.
Oh. Well,
So why
they're
is she
stupid.
known for the movie if she was cut out of it?
I don't know. She was probably in the background somewhere. But
Well, you can be known for a movie without being...
yeah, she
in
had.
it.
There were scenes filmed with her in,
Yeah.
but they were deleted.
But like,
They
Wait.
they exist though.
she was playing Mon Mothma in the prequels.
Yes,
That's what you're saying?
a younger
Yeah.
Mon Mothma.
Okay, because I was gonna say she would be like 12 in episode 3.
I think
Maybe.
she is...
Actually, I don't
she's
know.
the...
Just pretty young.
In Star Wars lore, she is the youngest senator until Leia comes along.
What about Padme?
I think she's
Padme
younger
was
than
pretty young.
Padme when she became a senator.
Padme was the youngest senator when
okay.
Padme was senator, but that might have changed. We don't have.
Well, Mon
confirmation
Mothma
otherwise.
was senator when Padme was senator.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Okay.
General Dodonna. I'm not sure if you know that character. He, in the episode 4, he was the one who got the pilots together and told them the plan on how to destroy the Death Star.
Oh,
Okay.
the biggest thing for me is that he's played by a guy who was in Game of Thrones, and the makeup work is pretty good. I would have to see a side by side, but
Oh, he's the fish dude.
No.
No.
Not
Oh,
the
never
fish. He's the old
no,
guy.
no, the fish.
He's the old guy with the white beard.
Was-
Dude.
So was Admiral Akbar in this movie, or?
No, that was Raditz.
Dang it!
I'm
I was
glad
thinking
that
maybe like he
Akbar
could have been in the
is not in
background.
there.
well, the actor for Akbar recently passed away, so
Oh.
I think that's kind of why they didn't.
Well, he was in Force Awakens.
Yes, but it was like between Force Awakens and Rogue One. He passed away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
it was shortly after Force Awakens came out.
And the only cameo that took me out of the movie, I would say the most
Yes.
annoying one, played by the guy who plays Anderson in Sherlock.
Was that a cameo or?
I don't think that was a cameo,
No.
but to me,
Or-
since we know
kind of.
that character from Sherlock,
That was, for me, that was just like cool. I'm like, oh, I recognize that guy from Sherlock.
but for me, it was like I recognize that guy from Sherlock, and he's annoying as heck.
I have not been following Sherlock recently.
Yeah,
so.
I haven't
Yeah, oh,
seen any of the Sherlock videos. So
Anderson, he was the forensic scientist that Sherlock wouldn't work with.
Oh,
He's
okay,
like, Anderson,
yeah.
shut up.
You lower the
Okay, I
IQ
didn't
of the
know.
whole street.
Okay, I remember that now.
And it's like, we know it's him because he doesn't sound any different. The only thing he has is a beard.
Well, here's one that we should probably talk about. The pilots.
Oh yes, the pilots. What's this?
I recognize that actor.
Drew Henley. You know the pilots, they use stock footage from A New Hope.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
You-
what
yeah.
Matthew told me.
You know, Red Leader and Gold Leader.
Interesting. That's cool.
You didn't notice
I
that?
like that a lot. No, I was distracted with all the space explosions and stuff. But I did notice that I liked how they did put cameras. I was like, oh, I really like how they put the cameras in the cockpit, just like they did in the original ones.
Yes.
I love it when
That
they do that.
makes more sense.
And they had the original footage as well.
One thing, the fact that there are female X-wing pilots.
Yes.
I've heard quite a few women comment about how cool that is.
It surprised
Yeah,
me.
I bet.
Did I turn to you when that
Yeah.
happened? And I'm like, oh my word, it's a girl.
And they did that in The
Did
Force
not expect
Awakens.
that.
But one thing that Star Wars actually does really well is making their X-wing pilots normal people. So it
Yeah,
isn't
seriously.
like their Jedi can be, cool and really fit people, but their X-wing pilots are all normal people that you would see walking on the street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that really helps with like the whole idea of the rebellion being like a ragtag group of people, and it really was. It wasn't like full of models that could do backflips and stuff.
Okay.
Sorry, you can't join our rebellion. You aren't attractive enough.
We're gonna take this empire down with style.
What about What about Porkins? Where was he in this movie?
I don't think it was at anyone's loss that he wasn't.
Like, that would have been fun to see, Porkins.
Oh, the death of Red 5? That was
Yes. Death of Red 5.
good. And the entire Blue Squad.
Do you know what we're talking about?
I know that Red 5 died, and that's why Skywalker could take his place in the next movie, because that's what you guys told me. But
It
as
was
I don't remember
a
anything
really
else.
quick moment where the stock footage person was like, Red 5, where are you going? And then Red 5's like, this is Red 5, I need help. And he blows up.
oh, that's cool that they added that.
Yeah. So I believe that's all the cameos we have for those. Now there are a lot of cameos from the Rebels TV series. There are multiple shots of the spaceship that the main crew has, the Ghost. You can see him fight in the background of the Scarab fight scenes. You also see one of the characters quickly pop by on the screen for a brief second, and you can also hear the name of one of the characters mentioned on the intercom, like General so and so, please come to Bay something. Which
Nice.
I find disappointing because I really wish those characters were dead by at that point. But it's cool just to have a connection between movie and TV series.
I'm thinking that they might actually end the Rebels TV show. I haven't seen any episodes, but I'm kind of hoping that they end it with the Battle of Scarif.
Then you're probably gonna have 5 more seasons of the show then. No.
Well, they're pretty close. They're only a few years away from the Battle of Scarif right now.
No,
They're in like 4,
Actually,
and Battle
no.
of Scarif is in 0.
because they're bringing Saw Gerrera. It's before. It's 15 years before.
Okay.
So
I thought
it's
it was
before he
closer.
takes Jyn Erso.
Okay.
It's before that, so.
Maybe they'll have a
Wait.
maybe they'll have a special season of Rebels years in the
To
future.
end the show, please.
Get it over with.
Yeah, get it over with.
And then do a show about between episode 6 and 7.
Yes, we need something about that.
I'd watch that. That'd be cool.
We have way too much space where we don't know what happens there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like it like it is, just because that gives you time to wonder. But I would definitely take an episode in between. That'd
Actually,
be cool.
yeah. Actually, if they have a cartoon TV show, they need to spend a few years to actually work on it.
Mm.
Instead of just have it for a few months and then release it with horrible animation. Like, you don't need to be a bobblehead for every line you have. They...
I think it would be interesting to see an animated TV series between episodes 6 and 7. The only problem is currently everything Star Wars is relying on
Disney.
the original trilogy.
And they're way too self-aware.
Yeah. Well, the bigger problem is that it's all relying on the original trilogy. So can they create Star Wars stories that aren't reliant on that trilogy?
Yeah.
Because the prequel trilogy
it's after
relies
the trilogy happened, so
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a problem
but
that would be.
it still relies on the characters. So will you have, in 30 years from now, will you have a movie with old Rey and old Finn? Or will Star Wars not be able to... Will those characters, I guess, not be able to hold their own?
They'll probably just move it to animated movies. And just bring in the voice actors with those characters.
Yep, it's just going to be all CGI. Everybody's just going to have CGI faces.
CGI.
Like, yeah, the technology is just going to be amazing at that point that
Who cares
you
about
can't
everything?
tell. So...
Who cares about everything that happens before and after this original trilogy? Let's just tell every story in the original trilogy.
Yes.
Okay. So I believe that's all the characters we have.
Yeah, let's quickly go over the planets then.
Okay.
So the first planet I love because it's in Iceland. And that actually has a really cool look of like the black ground versus the green of the grass and the farm that they're growing.
Must be a small planet if it's all in Iceland.
Oh yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Sorry.
I wish. But yeah, that was like that was one of those things where like I was on Google Maps right before going to see the movie looking at the Iceland filming locations.
It would have been so cool to like go to Iceland to film a movie. Like, it's part of your job, you know what I'm saying? It's Iceland. I don't know, I just love Iceland so much.
It's pretty cool there.
Okay. So...
Really?
The asteroid...
And that wasn't a pun, to be fair.
The asteroid, quote-unquote, planet city thing.
Oh, that was kind of cool. That actually, when I saw it, like the shot of the asteroid, I'm like, oh, did we walk into a Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
Yeah.
And then they go into the city, and I'm like, nope, it's Blade Runner. But that was kind of cool for like the way it kind of fleshes out a bit of the, not underworld, but lower class of Star Wars.
That planet is actually scientifically accurate. You know, you could have the gravity of the thing hold together and it wouldn't actually crush you. It would just move in equal proportion.
Yeah, that would be
Which
really
planet
cool.
is this exactly?
The outpost that Cassian kills the rebel on.
Oh, that, yes.
Yeah, that
the inconvenient gravity.
Okay.
What's next?
The concentration camp.
Yes.
The Imperial concentration camp where they have generals imprisoned.
Like I said, I love the rings of the planet. I don't think the rest of it is too nondescript to be.
It's just for a brief second. It
Yeah.
looks like a concentration camp.
But they did actually bring in the vehicle that was in
Yes.
episode 3.
I love that.
They changed a military vehicle into a prisoner transport. So that was neat.
All right. Since next planet we Yavin 4, yes. It was Yavin 4. We actually got to see the temple.
Yeah.
Ah, I'm excited. I was excited when I saw that. You know, we've seen it before in the Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, in the battle. You fight there, you see the temple. I'm glad that they actually had the design here. Ah.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then it just looked so much like the original trilogy. The way
Yeah.
the green lines on the see-through boards.
The people with the
Oh yeah, that scene where he's like just watching the ship and he doesn't have his little like tracker. That was slightly funny to me.
it was like
Like,
wow.
oh, is that supposed to be there?
It's more like, wow, that guy's not doing his job. You're supposed to be tracking these things, not just watching it take off.
He's taking a break. He deserves one from once in a
Yeah, he
Every
didn't
once in a
know
while.
Rogue One was
How
flying
does
away.
he get up and down there? Does that pole just
He flies.
does the pole just lower?
The Force.
Of course.
Is there a conveyor belt somewhere?
Maybe the platform goes up and down
That's what I was
that
saying.
he's
Yeah.
on.
I was wondering about that. Like,
Maybe he's just secretly a Jedi. I mean, I don't know, man.
Oh, that's a cameo
they
we
just
didn't talk
climbed
about.
the pole.
That's a good cameo that we didn't mention. I mean, the actor they hired it for him looked exactly like the one in the originals.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Edu.
Oh, Edu was really cool. I love the rain and everything, and especially when you have like a really like visually cool movie and something where the special effects are that advanced. When you have the rain in there, that's just so cool.
Yeah.
The rain. I'm forgetting which one it is.
They're a dark rock planet with rain in it.
Oh, where they get the dad.
Yeah.
And then poor Krennic, he looks so cranky whenever he's in the rain. And the first planet, and then Edu.
He just wears a little cap.
Yeah. And that's
Which was-
another.
Someone die.
Yeah, that
that's-
scene right there was pretty awesome. Like the whole idea that yeah, I probably should shoot this dude, but I'm not going to. And yet he was still like, even though he was still made out to be a villain a little bit by Jin, it was like no, he kind of did the right thing, but also the wrong thing, and it's hard to call that. But
I mean, she's
Yeah.
allowed to be offended, you know what I'm saying, and mad and
mhm.
at him for going to kill her dad and lying to her and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree with you that it's like, he didn't do it, you know what I'm saying, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mustafar. Or so we think. It's Mustafar. We don't actually know.
That's been confirmed that it is Mustafar from what I know. I actually think it's really nice that they didn't try and introduce a new planet.
What?
Like,
Oh.
just the fact that, because you have so many planets in this movie, the fact that there's something to call back to the prequel trilogy was really cool.
Yeah.
And then sort of also symbolic of Darth Vader, his anger has sort of cooled down, so the planet is a lot less active.
Yeah. I like his temple. I want to know more about that.
A nice big scenic window.
Yes, and that servant. Dude, what is he?
So then after that planet, they go to Scarif.
Yeah.
The really pretty planet.
Yeah.
Yes, the really pretty.
That's one place you would never imagine Star Wars being in.
Yeah.
Do you know where that was filmed?
Maldives.
Oh wow! See, look at that. You get to go to Iceland. You get to go to the Maldives. Like,
Except
Those
why
are the-
am I not in Star Wars?
the only character in both of those places is Krennic.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
you got the best of everything.
I guess you could say.
You got the best of both worlds.
literally both worlds.
I've made Toa cringe in every podcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a running theme.
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Shut up.
Oh, okay. So probably I have to say my favorite line in this movie um, was the time when they're sacking everyone and they put they put the blindfold over the blind guy,
Oh, the blind
Yeah.
guy. Yes.
and he's like, "You've got to be kidding me! I'm
I'm
blind."
That's
It's
probably
like,
smart that they did that.
Yeah.
'Cause it cuts off his senses.
That was one of those
True.
scenes where I laughed like immediately after it, and then
Yeah.
like they go to the next shot and it's the Star Destroyer leaving, and it's a really cool shot, but I'm still laughing at the blind guy.
yeah,
joke.
exactly.
And then I'm like, why am I laughing so hard? And then I remembered, so I start laughing again.
Okay. So we've reached the point in the podcast
return.
where we've talked about basically everything, almost everything about this movie, and actually there's probably a couple of things we should probably talk about. The new ship designs and trooper designs that weren't in the other movies.
They were all exploded on.
I
on
know,
Scarif.
but there is actually a much better reason for that.
I actually like. It didn't really bother me because I don't think they were different enough that.
Well, when you have the TIE fighters with only the weird airplane thing like that, when you see stuff like that and different stormtrooper designs, I'm thinking, like, that's brand new. I don't remember seeing that. But then I think that, they have specific designs for different situations. So these Death Troopers were actually, from what I've heard, only the Krennic's bodyguards, kind of.
Apparently, there were only 6 of them, and I tried to count them through the movie.
There's way more than that.
Well, I think there are only the 6 that Krennic has in his personal car.
And so there's that. And then the weird stormtroopers with the
shore troopers?
the shore troopers that had the tan design. They were designed for, beach battles, which, actually we don't actually see in other planets, but you have the desert planets, so...
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that be because they have actually water on the beach.
And
then, actually, an interesting thing that I learned that TIE fighters actually function poorly in atmosphere, which is why we have those weird TIE fighters with the different designs, so that they can actually work with the wind. And so,
I was thinking about that because, you have to think when you're going out in space, you have to launch. You either have to launch from atmosphere or you have to launch from another spaceship. But if you're just made to fly around in space, your propulsion system doesn't have to be nearly as good because you're not fighting anything to move forward. So the science of that is interesting, and I'm glad they took that into account more.
And so, I thought that was just an interesting way to look at having the new designs.
Oh, and then
I'm just wondering how many other designs do we not see? Like, we also have the K2 droids.
Yeah.
Where we don't see that anywhere else. I'm just wondering, what are they specifically designed for? To not have
strategic analysis.
But why don't you have them on Star Destroyers?
Yeah.
I think there's a much deeper reasoning for that.
Probably. We'll find out eventually.
Probably not. Look, you've just asked just one person, you'll just make up something on the spot.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we've talked about basically everything, so now we can talk about our favorite moments.
Yes.
And so should we?
Moment.
So should we just leave out the Darth Vader scenes?
Yeah, we've talked about those in detail.
Because
so let's
I
go
think
second favorite.
that's gonna be everyone's favorite. So
Yeah, those are definitely high up there.
we should
sure.
probably. This is probably think of something else. So Matthew,
Okay, it's one very quick moment, but it's when the ships come out of hyperspace to enter the battle. And sort of they're getting ready and then they go through the gate. So that whole sequence was really cool. Yeah.
Toa.
Just about any scene with K2. Specifically, I liked how he just caught a grenade and then threw it back like it was nothing. But at the same time, like, you could tell that he knew that he was throwing it back to hit somebody, but he was like super like sarcastic and
Chill.
witty about it. Like I just liked him as a character. He made me happy. And then like when he was given a gun in the last scene too, pretty great. Good times.
Speedy.
I'm gonna cop out and say, like Toa did, and say pretty much any scene with Chirrut in it.
Okay.
But mainly whenever he fights, because like he's blind and yet he's a better shot than I am. I just thought that was really cool. And how he uses it showed that how he was using his other senses to be able to locate where the people were and to be able to shoot accurately. I liked that.
The Force is weak with you.
Oh, shush.
So, for me, I would say it would have to be K2's death scene.
That was, yeah.
Because the way it was done, like, he is multitasking. He's he's trying to get the Death Star plans, getting all that working while he shoots blasters, giving instructions while blasting other stormtroopers. And so and he's just being bombarded by a lot of stormtroopers, and he's still going after multiple shots, and I just thought that was just fantastic.
Yeah, I liked it. It was satisfying. It was like, what, that was good. That was a good ending to his life.
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything else we should talk about?
Well, let's final one sentence review.
Should we say like out of 10 or out of
Sure.
out of 4 Death Stars?
Let's each choose a different number to do out of.
Okay.
Just to make things more confusing.
Confuse everyone.
Yay!
Okay, I will give it a rating of I'm looking around my room to see the first thing I can rate it with. Ooh, no, that I don't want to use that.
Okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
I will give it 1 out of 1 for Rogue One. So that translates to a 10 out of 10 in common.
How many packets do we have in this?
Okay.
I don't know. I can't think of a thing to number it out of.
How many do we come in? How many come in?
27.
Okay, I was actually going to do that. I would say a 24 out of 27.
What would that translate to on a 10-point scale?
For me, a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, that is logic right there.
Yeah, I'm looking at that and thinking math-wise, and I don't think that's right.
Math is not my strongest subject.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter.
Okay, so for me, I think I would rate it a solid 9.5 kyber crystals out of 10.
Okay, so I'm gonna rate it a 1000 out of 1080.
Oh my.
For the resolution.
Probably. I'm just reading that off of the thing that's labeled on my laptop, so.
Okay, yeah, resolution then. Great.
Well, the resolution, it's actually 1920 out of 1080, and I thought, I don't love it that much because there's 2 others that are better.
Yeah, I mean, I think it wasn't the best Star Wars movie, in that it did have its flaws, but it was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Okay, quickly,
Sure.
Should we do where it ranks among the Star Wars movies, basically?
Can we ignore the
No.
episodes
The
1, 2, and 3?
We,
The prequels?
we aren't going to give a list, just is it closer to the top and what is it between?
Okay.
For me, it's actually currently at the top. I expect it might move. The Force Awakens last year actually moved pretty far down the list, but Rogue One is currently at the top, followed by Empire Strikes Back for me.
I should now look at the names.
Okay. Toa?
I mean, okay, so I loved Rogue One, but I also really loved Force Awakens a lot. Part of it was I liked the graphics on both of them, just seeing like real modern graphics on Star Wars things was cool. This was more, to me, this was more like a background story. So I think I'm gonna have to rate this more, a little bit lower. Also, I just didn't like the introductory sequence very much. I think that. So I don't know. I really enjoyed. Man, this is tricky. It would probably be, I guess, Force Awakens, then Episode 4, 6, 5, then Rogue One. I'll admit, Episode 5 is not on my highest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though like it's iconic, but it's, for some reason to me it's never stood out as great, and it's probably just the psychology of it being in the middle rather than the beginning or the end.
Okay.
But
See, middle children get the worst.
yeah.
So, Speedy, you haven't seen The Force Awakens yet?
I just watched it today, and I have to say I did not like it.
No?
Okay.
I thought that it had a ton of subplots that just felt like, I don't know, I felt like it could have been better written.
Okay.
It's like, oh no, this problem, and then we'll put that on hold and not mention that because this is other problem, and it felt very overwhelming to me. I'm like, wait, what's going on?
Well,
so
J.J. Abrams is better at writing TV shows.
Mm.
yeah, that'd explain it. I'd say Rogue One is like either second or third. I really love Return of the Jedi. That is my favorite one.
Same. I like Return a lot.
Okay.
Mainly because that was the first one I saw, so it's kind of like.
Hey, me too.
And then A New Hope is really good as well. I like that one. So, but I can't really decide whether Rogue One would be like second or third.
Okay. Me, it's in my top 3. Number 1 is Revenge of the Sith. Number 2, Empire Strikes Back. And number 3, I would say Rogue One. So
Okay.
I really liked it. Although you gotta understand that I love Star Wars equally. I really consider Holiday Special as a canon for me. I enjoy it, I would say.
Nice.
Like, I have it on my computer right now.
So basically, don't trust his opinion.
You can, but keep in mind this is from a person who likes the Holiday Special
One thing, I'm actually
and the Ewok films.
hopeful that it might get Oscar nominations. I think it's strong enough that, and I'm a really big Oscar person, so that would mean quite a bit. But yeah.
Okay. So, is that all we have?
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, good movie. Go see it.
Yep.
It's worth the money.
It has the Council of Podcast name in bracket seal of approval. You
Yep,
put that on the
and
box.
Damn.
Yeah.
If you watch through this whole, I guess listen through this whole podcast just to see if we liked it, so that you could go watch it, there's something wrong with your life. But thank you.
I'm flattered.
Support. Yeah.
You want to Skype sometime?
Yeah.
I can give you a whole other advice if you'd like.
You can join the podcast.
Anyway, yeah. So, okay. Thank you guys for watching, and we will all see you all hopefully next time. Bye.
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 Okay.